Can any decent person actually defend all of the practices described in the report that was just released by the Senate, the report on CIA attempts to get information from detainees in the fight against terror? Can anyone really defend some of the stuff that's there? Things like, forgive me, rectal feeding? Really? Actually, and this may surprise or even upset some of you, I think they can. But it's not nearly as easy to do so as some of the people would have us believe. Neither is assuming that everything described in the report is inherently wrong or evil. I think that's the problem right now. It's tougher than either side has the courage to admit. So let's start with a question that'll help us get to the bottom of it. Do you call what's described in that report torture? Or do you call it enhanced interrogation? Truthfully, the answer to that question, how you would answer that question, that's the best predictor we have about how you feel about this issue. And if we can get to the bottom of that, I think we can make better policy that will leave us safe and more humane at the same time. I think the key here is the ambivalence about the word torture. No one wants to get up and defend torture. There's a sense that torture is wrong. Right? And so you have this rush by the people who defend everything that's described in the report to call it enhanced interrogation. And I think that speaks volumes. Even the so-called defenders don't want to call it torture because at some fundamental level we know that if we truly believe it's torture, it is wrong and it is indefensible. And the argument that yes, but if the information we get would save lives, does that make it more reasonable? It may, but here's the problem with that theory. You would only know after the fact, which means it's probably awash with all the bad information we know often comes out when you do unspeakable things to people. Here's the deal. Fighting a war is always bad, even if the cause is good. Being in combat is always ugly, no matter how morally or ethically or justly you are fighting. Anyone who expects an insider's view of the war, of any war, including the war on terror, to be pretty, is a fool. Unless you're a pure pacifist and you read such reports, they're always going to include, even when we're doing everything right, whatever that means, some really upsetting and even disgusting things. I get that and I accept that. And so should the people who are defending the content of that report but rush to call it enhanced interrogation. If you don't want to call it torture, that may be your conscience calling, telling you that some of the stuff in there, no matter how much you may want to defend it, is actually indefensible. And when people can hold on to the ambivalence they have about the cause they support, then we'll actually have policy being made, not by the foolishly naive or the dangerously cynical, but by those who are really principled pragmatists, who know that you're always going to be uncomfortable if you're a decent human being when you go to war. And if you're so uncomfortable that you're not willing to call what you're doing what it truly is, maybe you shouldn't be doing it at all.